Hi there, it's Dan here from Flexxable, and today I'm going to talk about 3 valuable lessons I've learned from running an AI automation agency. Let's dive in. Okay, so the cool thing about running an AI automation agency is that if you have like 1 year's or even 6 months experience, you're like a worldwide expert, okay? So the playing field has been leveled. If you're trying to sell Google Ad services, or you're trying to do back-end automations, or you're doing conversion rate optimization for landing pages, or you're a copywriter. If you're trying to sell them, you're competing against people that have got many years of experience, all right? But with AI automation and being able to help businesses with AI, it's a complete level playing field. And we have technology at our fingertips now that every average Joe has got access to that doesn't require like private equity money, or it doesn't require coding skills or anything like that, right? So it is smash and grab time. So many businesses need AI. They don't know how to install it. They don't know what they need it for. I've always said us marketers, the people that have been, running these agencies or one-man shows for so long, are finally about to start, making bank and really adding value to these type of businesses because we're experts, right? CRMs and the third-party tools can no longer compete with us. Okay, you don't need that investment. You don't need to have some fancy product with a big developer team to be able to deliver for clients. All right, so it's a really big opportunity. I've been doing this for 18, probably almost 2 years now, and I've learned some lessons on the way, and I'm going to talk about 3 very important lessons I've learned. Number 1 is focus on one offer that is going to get your foot in the door, and also run a test. The way I like to do this is I like to have a big old hole. I used to play basketball, right? That was my sport. And sometimes when I was on fire, it was like I was shooting through like a big old bucket like this. I couldn't miss. Other days when I was having an off day, it was like shooting a basketball into a golf hole. They just wouldn't go in. So when we're talking to clients and when we're making and pitching offers to clients, we want to make sure that we keep the hole really big. And when I say a really big hole, we want people to say yes easily so we can transact with them easily and quickly, because we know I've just established the opportunity is so big here. There's so many clients out there that we can help. We want to get as many people in as we can. And for me to do that, I have an offer. I call it the offer of the century. And that offer is, do you have any old leads we can turn into sales using AI and SMS? And we do that on a performance basis, which means if you don't get paid, we don't get paid. Okay, and obviously because it's a very attractive offer, you're reaching out to clients that have, a lot of old leads that they've given up on. They just say yes, like everyone says yes. For me, to keep, that bucket nice and wide, you want to have lots of conversations and get going with clients quickly. Okay, so that's the way that I do it. So you want to have an offer that's a foot in the door, and you want to be able to get that foot in the door as quickly as you can and start transacting with clients. Okay, so that's my offer. And the other thing as well is that when you're talking about commercials and what that looks like, you never say to them, okay, here's a contract, okay, and I spent 3 hours putting that contract together, and that's going to tie you in for 12 months on our offer. You sign this and then we can get going. Okay, that's a really big ask in a really fast moving market. So I always do what's called a test when I start. So I make sure that I have my offer of the century, and I say to a client, give us 2,000 of your old leads and we'll run a test. And if it works, then we can talk a little bit more about what happens after that. And the reason I want to do a test is because the client, you don't know me, I don't know you, and we might not work well together. And, that's why I do a test. If we don't work well together, we can both, walk our separate ways, okay? And what happens when you do this is you suddenly become on a level playing field with a client. You don't sound desperate, not chasing the sale, and you're pushing something that's actually quite refreshing to them, okay? A test. So really that's my first point. Make sure that you have a great simple offer to run in to get your foot in the door with. And number 2 is run a test. Okay, my second valuable lesson is we must iterate and have feedback from our clients once we get our foot in the door and once we start getting them results. I was just on a call then, and we're working with a student of mine who's doing stuff in the ERC niche in America. And that's a huge lead gen industry that's now closed down. But what he's doing is taking leads that have got a result and had money back from that ERC campaign and sending them to a new offer, which is also highly profitable. When he was sending out the SMS that we were talking about with the offer of the century, and the replies were coming in, there were appointments being booked, and it was working really well, and there was people calling the number, and he's doing really well out of it, right? But what he didn't know is that there's a different bucket of people. There's a bucket of people that haven't got their money yet back from the government, from their rebate. So for him to try and book that person into a call might actually be really detrimental to the client. I'm not sure yet, I don't know. But what I said to him is he has to go back to the client and iterate, show them a conversation of what's happened, show them the different buckets of people, or the stuff that's happening inside the account, and be able to create a bit more of a bespoke solution around those different buckets. And what happens then is that you get your kind of claws further and further in, right? Because what I think and what I see happening now is a ton of third-party tools that are being that are emerging in the market that will do the offer of the century, that will use the same methodology I've been teaching for 24 months, and they'll copy that, and then it'll just be off the shelf type thing. Okay, whereas what we do requires a little bit of a bit of tech build, right? Because ours is bespoke. Okay, but the thing is with those off-the-shelf solutions, they're not going to have the ability to go to the client and iterate like I'm talking about. So if you want to separate yourself from the wave of third-party kind of solutions that are going to be presenting themselves over the next few years, and you want to truly add value to your clients, and you really want to stick with them so they can never leave you, then you've got to iterate like I've just explained. Like, it doesn't matter what you're selling a client. If it's to do with AI, you're going to get some results, you're going to get some failures, you're going to get some wins. A failure isn't really a failure. A failure is what you're looking for, okay? Because if you see something malfunction or not go like according to what the client thinks or what you think, you can use that as feedback to get better at what you do with the client. The failures are what you're looking for. Okay, and if you're able to feed that back in with AI and learn from it, then guess what? You're going to be untouchable, okay, and your client will not leave you. We have AI at our fingertips, and with the offer of the century, it's doing all the work for us, right? It's doing the work of a call center of 50 people, okay, with one bot, okay? It's super exciting times, okay? You literally cannot lose if you stick around long enough and you are that person. You are that agency that really wants to help the client. If you can take that feedback, get better and better and better and iterate, then you're going to be untouchable. All right, my third lesson is that you want to get your claws in as fast as you can, okay? This is a saying I've used in my community for a little while now, and it's pretty self-explanatory, right? Once you get your foot in the door with that offer, okay, that offer of the century, once you start getting results for the client, you want to immediately, after you've done the iteration, obviously, you want to immediately start looking for different ways to help that business, okay? Because the easiest person to sell to is someone you've got a result for, okay? They are going to love you when they see the power of the offer of the century, right? It's going to blow them away. They're going to have found money and they're going to be super excited, right? Which then means that you can sell them more stuff, right? And for me, that could be, Mr. Client, Mrs. Client, have you got any leads that are coming in outside of working hours that we can use AI to book into an appointment? Say your sales team are going to come into hot leads each morning. Now that could be one thing. Or, Mr. Client, it looks like you've got tons of really happy customers, but if I go and look at your Trustpilot or Google reviews, I see loads of one-star reviews that haven't been responded to. Can we come up with an AI solution that's going to save your team time because you're clearly too busy installing the solar panels for your clients rather than looking at the reviews? Can we help with that? There's at least half a dozen other solutions that you can help clients with that are based on the problems that they're having, okay? I use this as an example. My best friend in Sydney is a plastic surgeon, right? And we were going through each stage of his business. Okay, leads, not so much of a problem, because he's got a great reputation and there's leads coming in all the time, right? But what he was struggling with is that patients, once they had surgery, really were very labor intensive for his nurses. So he has to hire a couple of nurses, and the same questions are just getting asked over and over and over again. And it's boring for the nurses. It's no fun for them. They'd rather be doing better stuff. So the answer was to create him like some patient care AI, right? Which will just help the patients with their aftercare. It's really brilliant stuff, right? But you won't know what that is until you get the foot in the door, and the foot in the door is what you need to do, and you need a great offer for that foot in the door, and after that you can get your claws in. So I hope you've enjoyed my 3 lessons that I've learned over the years selling AI automations and what I've seen inside my communities. If you are interested in getting into AI, or you've already got an AI automation agency and you're looking to, what I've said today makes sense to you, I've got a book, it's called The Instant AI Agency. It's actually an Amazon #1 bestseller we found out this week in the home-based business niche. And it's on fire, really. It's really good stuff. And it details this offer of the century. It shows you how to build it and how to sell it and how to get a ton of clients with this offer. There'll be a link somewhere below. Click that, buy the book. It's really good stuff. You're going to love it. Speak soon.